things that has been, you said this on whatever night it was, Wednesday night, about writing the thing that drove your theology. How did black people survive this sort of gruesome terror that actually in a lot of ways continues today? And the thing that kind of drives my work is, why do we even care about the Bible? You know, why do black folk care about the Bible as much as we do? You know, that's my degree, is in biblical studies. I went in it because of this whole, how do we keep coming back to these texts and to these, in the midst of this terror? So I wonder, for you as an AME, you are ordained, right? As an AME ordained minister who is a theologian by trade, what are these texts doing for you in your theology as much as anything?
But first, let me say that I'm just glad to be here.
Amen.
I'm glad to feel your love, your affirmation. And there are so many of you here I know in special sort of ways. If I started naming people, I wouldn't be able to name everybody. But let me just respond to what Valerie just asked me. The Bible is the first book I read. And I discovered later it's the first book black people read. But in my home growing up in Vanderbilt, Arkansas, we read the Bible daily. And, you know, as a child, you don't think about it much, but I did like those biblical stories. I loved them. And I loved to repeat them, tell stories about them. When I went off to graduate school and got a PhD and all that and didn't know how to write, and I wanted to write, I wanted to find my voice, but the biblical commentaries didn't help me.
Right.
I wanted to go into New Testament, and one way in which I did learn to write was I learned Greek, and I was the best student in Greek at Garrett. And won the Greek award.
Right.
And when I started seeing how the Greek language worked, I applied it to the English language. And I could see how English would work by reading Greek. And that made the Bible exciting to me when I could read it in its original language.
Right.
But when I started writing, I had to get most of what I had learned in the background. I had to put it in the background. Because if I were going to use people like Kaiserman and Borncom and Bootman and all those people.
We call those the dear Germans.
Well, the dead Germans, whoever they are. I couldn't enter that conversation in a way to talk about what I wanted to talk about.
Right.
So I just put them aside and I just started reading the Bible. And I just said to myself, what is going on here? And it suddenly came to me, I said, the Bible is concerned about little people. Marginalized people. And when I got to the New Testament, reading that, the story of Jesus is a powerful story.
It is. So now, I'm Hebrew Bible, Old Testament. What you just said about the Bible being the story of little people, I often say to my students, it is the one book that we read about losers.
Yeah.
They are constantly under threat.
Right.
They are constantly displaced.
That's right.
They are constantly without support surrounding them. We think of it as a hero's tale, but it's not.
It's not. And, black people are losers too.
Right. That's why I think we like it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I guess, you know, I think writing is about self-confidence.
See, you had to do that, but I'm not going to talk to you about that.
It's about self-confidence. And I got that early. I learned how to talk by listening, as you just said earlier, to my mother and all of the women. I was the youngest in my family. I had two older brothers. They went and worked with my father. They didn't need me. I was too little. And I stayed with my mother.
Well, now that's a good transition.